G'day there guys, keeps wondering why I bear a striking resemblance to my mailman and not my father here, back at it again with another episode of r/Am I the A-hole. Now if you love today's episode like I love you, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, a like on the video, and enjoy today's content. Posted by user, Am I Not the A-hole? Titled, Am I the A-hole for letting my brother call me dad and refusing to tell him the ugly truth? I'm well aware that this story sounds extremely hard to believe and fake, and I'm aware that there will be many crap post comments below. Sorry, but this story is 100% true, and it's a hot topic of discussion in my family at the moment. I was born when my parents were both 19, and my only other brother, let's call him Josh, was born when they were 42. They divorced shortly after Josh was introduced to the world. He was 4 months old at the time. And they both wanted nothing to do with the child. At the time, I was 23, and I was living alone with my then girlfriend who was 21, now my wife, and I've done my best to convince at least one of them to take care of young Josh for his sake and the family's sake. But they refused adamantly and said that I should be taking custody of him instead. So I became legal guardian of my brother, and he has been living with us for the past 12 years. And things have been going really smooth for us. Josh, now almost 13, has been calling me dad, and my wife mum, and our 2 children, 4 female, 9 male, his siblings, and he has absolutely no idea about his real parents. And to be honest, I let all of that slide. He has no idea that I'm really his blood brother and not his father, and I'm starting to feel guilty and a little weird. Some of my uncles and aunts come to visit occasionally, and they are really disgusted at the fact that he calls me dad, and they're surprised I haven't told him the truth. They constantly messaged me, talk to me in private, and I cannot chat to them without this one particular topic rising up, badgering me to let him know already, but I refused. I discussed this with my wife, and she thought it would be wrong to tell him the truth because none of my parents wanted to take care of him, and I'm the only person in the world who gave him the father figure everyone deserves. I feel that he has the right to know what he is to me and what I truly am to him, but he has suffered enough already, and I just want things to continue how it is. Reddit, am I the a-hole? Would I be the a-hole if I let him know the truth? Update. About 70% of the comments are advising me to tell my son who I really am to him, and some are saying sooner than later. I've just got up to discuss this with my wife, and now after a lot of hesitation, we have decided that it's best the truth comes from us, and it has to come now. Right now. It's late for us, but we shall address this to him first thing this week, or even tomorrow. Thanks, guys. This is a good topic to discuss with a therapist or a counselor that specializes in adoption-related issues. My understanding is that it can be very distressing to a child or adult to abruptly find out that they've been adopted. Most things I have read indicate it's best to let the child know early on that they came from a different mummy's tummy, and then went to their mummy and daddy, or something along those lines. Your brother is past that point, but you are better off acting on this sooner than later. It's better that he find out from you and your wife. Otherwise, eventually someone is going to spill the beans. Yeah, talking to a therapist and counselor beforehand is excellent advice. Not the a-hole. Get a therapist, tell the kid, and act fast, or the relatives will undertake this mission themselves. That will be crap hits the fan moment. Not the a-hole. I would actually recommend getting more than one professional opinion. I don't think the first professional you speak with would necessarily give you the best advice, just the first advice. This is something that will impact all of your lives for the rest of your lives, and it should be addressed the right way. Also, if you decided not to tell him, you need to consider easily available DNA tests. Every year they are getting more and more advanced. If your son ever decided to get one in the future, even just to find out his lineage, it may be advanced enough to let him know that you aren't his biological dad. You said that he's suffered enough already, but has he? Being abandoned by your biological parents at 4 months old is rough, But he was also immediately taken in by a loving brother who has raised him with love in a nuclear family, complete with siblings. Maybe all of you were not set up for the easiest lives, but you stepped up. You are a loving family. Is this suffering that you speak of all before he was a year old? Yet he's always been loved by someone. You, your girlfriend, and future wife/mother. If this is the case, he hasn't suffered as much as you have. As far as he knows, he's been loved his whole life. And by the way, the older relatives that are griping to you about this may also be the same generation that would raise their daughter's illegitimate love child as their own, or allow their parents to do so and never tell them the truth. Not the a-hole. The a-holes are your nosy uncles and aunts. You've raised him since he was a baby. You are the only paternal, and your wife maternal, figure that he has known. But I think you'll shock him, if not turn his world upside down. But given your family dynamic, it very well might be that these uncles and aunts do it because they feel he should know. So it might be best if he heard it coming from you. He is not the a-hole for allowing him to call him dad, but he is mildly a-hole-ish for never ever telling Josh what his true parentage is. That can do a lot of damage to a kid mentally. Hopefully OP consults a child therapist and works with them to find the best way to tell Josh. Update: am I the a-hole for letting my brother call me dad and refusing to tell him the ugly truth? Hey guys, so many people wanted me to update on my previous post and wanted me to seek professional advice first before I take matters into my own hands. Apologies if it's long, that's what she said. I'll try to make it as detailed as possible while making this short. I went to my local therapist and told him about my situation and asked what to do. To keep it short, he said he's heard similar accounts from before and said it's best if I tell him as soon as possible for multiple reasons and to make sure that my bio children are present. For multiple reasons. I asked a few of my closest friends and the majority said more or less the same thing. My wife and I decided to sit the kids down and burst the big bubble. I asked my brother Josh to come closer and I made sure I held him close and made him feel comfortable. He asked, "What's going on?" But I started by telling us how much we cared and loved for him, then told him everything about my parents. I put them in a bright light in hopes of a reunion and who I am to him, then quickly hugged him and my other two kids together and told him that I love all my children the same and nothing is going to change my love for him. He was shocked and asked if I was joking, but I was starting to cry a little at this point, so he knew that I was serious. My bio children were very surprised too. He was in tears and asked me why I didn't tell him sooner. I didn't know what to say and said, "I was just trying to protect you. I'm sorry and I hope you can forgive me," but unfortunately and understandably, he left. He didn't talk to me as much again, understandably so. I continuously offered him to go out to the park and play a bit of football, because he loves that and all of his favorite things, but he just outright declined and even got a little angry sometimes for me even talking to him. I thought I messed up big time, until one day while my wife and two children were out doing shopping and we were alone, he came up to me and said, "I know you're not my real father, but I want to let you know you're the best dad in the whole world. Sorry for before." I hugged him, and things got pretty emotional. It would be a big lie to say my house is normal now, as it's far from that, but things are slowly, ever so slowly, starting to brighten up. There is no longer anything to hide anymore, and it feels like we are born again. Josh is a tough kid, and he handled this far better than I believed he would. I will be looking into therapy for him to help him recover, just in case it doesn't go well in the long run. I'll strive to continue to be a great dad to my kids, and a great dad to my brother/son. Thank you Reddit for pushing me towards this happy ending. Thank you for all the advice and judgments that I got, excluding the rude ones about my uncles and aunts. Eek. I love you all, and good night. Le More Just says, therapy so he can deal with the future. He's going to share this with friends who might not be kind is a great idea. And keep being the best dad possible. Love him, never let him be in doubt of that ever. Your wife is going to have to negotiate this on her end too, since he now knows she isn't his biological mother anymore. Lucky kid, your first son. Someday, that will all be very clear to him. Thanks for the update. Came here to say this. He's going to have a lot of thoughts running through his head now and not know how to express them. I'm so glad the OP told Josh as a child for exactly this reason. He will have time now to adjust and work through his feelings. It would have been much harder on Josh if he found out in the turbulent teenage years, and I don't think he would have come around so quickly. It's telling that the first thing out of Josh's mouth was, "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" It's feeling like your life is a lie, rather than the situation that upsets people the most. Yeah, being a teenager is hard enough. Being a teenager with all of this on your shoulders, oof. That's going to be hard to deal with. He needs more than just family to speak to. Good on you, OP. Not just for coming clean, but for doing so thoughtfully and for stepping up like the adult your biological parents couldn't be. You're a good person. Posted by user CutStepFam. Titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting a relationship with my stepmom and stepsister after my dad died? My parents got a divorce when I was 6, and I haven't seen my mum since because she was abusive. My dad remarried when I was 8. My stepmom wasn't abusive, but we never clicked. She tried to be my new mum right off the bat, and I found it weird, and she didn't like how I wasn't open to the idea right away. She also had a daughter who's 1 year younger than me. We didn't hit it off either. Don't get me wrong, she's totally a fine person, but as kids, she was the typical brat, so I guess it made it hard for us to really bond as kids, I guess. Once I hit my teens, I had a rough patch of being rebellious and overall not a good person. My dad gave me space like I needed, but my stepmom didn't see it that way, and we fought a lot because of it. My stepsister was alright during our teen years, but she got more quiet and kept to herself, so we didn't really have any conflict. But me and my stepmom didn't hit it off, and once I turned 18, I moved out the first chance I got. I am now 24, and my dad sadly passed away with cancer. Though I didn't get along with my stepmom, I never stopped loving my dad, and we texted daily when I moved out. It was rough on me, and I do appreciate my stepmom helping me with the funeral, but that was a couple of months ago, and I haven't really talked to her since. My stepsister has invited me over for Christmas, and honestly I don't know if I want to go. Not because I don't like them, but because it's the same house that we grew up in, and it'll remind me too much of my dad, and I'm still grieving. I know my stepsister and stepmom are too, but god damn it sucks, cause I don't know. I just want to be left alone for some time to process it, cause it was only 3 months ago. Am I the a-hole if I don't show up to Christmas Day at my stepmom's place? Ignore the title, asked wrong question. Damn, I was wondering what happened to the am I the a-hole there? No. I guess maybe, absolutely to them, you're an a-hole, but I think morally you're not an a-hole if you don't show up to the Christmas Day lunch, whatever you guys are up to there. Celebration, I guess, Christmas Day celebration. We don't want to open up those wounds again if it's only been 3 months. That's a lot to deal with. Obviously, you can go if you are strong enough to do it, but it would be hard. It would be a hard day. It would be a happy day because it's Christmas, but it wouldn't be an easy day. The emotions would probably make it a sad day, that's for sure. So I'm gonna go with you're not the a-hole. You take your time, man. It can take a long time to heal from that. Large Rodent says, no a-holes here. It was nice of them to include you, but you by all means don't have to accept their offer. And I'm sorry for your loss. If you need an excuse and want to potentially keep the door open in case you change your mind in the future, you can say you are still grieving and would rather be alone. And OP says, I'll say that. I don't know what I want yet. I could one day feel like I miss and want them, but not right now. My dad's sister, my aunt, has been a great mother figure to me once my bio mum left me and my dad, So I call her my deaf immediate family. Dobby Dev thinks, I think that's a good idea. Make sure that they know you appreciate the invite, but you need space and time right now. If in-person interactions are too much for you, consider just keeping in touch lightly via sending cards for holidays and birthdays a few times a year. Like you said, one day you might want them in your life, even if you are never close with them. I would try to keep the doors open without guilting yourself into doing anything that you don't want to. No a-holes here. No a-holes here. I can't tell you who to consider your family, but keep in mind that these people presumably cared for you and supported you as a member of their family. You don't have to hit it off to be family. You just have to be there for each other when in need. And OP says, I guess if they ever were in a sticky situation, I would help them out, because she did raise me, even if we did fight a lot. This is a good way to think of it. You don't seem to have any real need to go non-contact, and it's good to leave the door open because as you get a bit older, you might find your feelings and the way you see things changes radically. Thank your stepsister for the invitation, but tell her that you've already got plans. That leaves you an opening if you ever want to take it. I would also keep in mind the possibility that since it sounds like your dad raised your stepsister, she probably misses him a lot too. So keeping a connection to you is a way to keep a connection to him. One day you might find it very comforting to have someone else around who misses him. So think about trying to build up a relationship with her separate to your stepmother. Definitely no a-holes here, by the way. And OP replies, yeah, I won't cut them out, but I don't have a need to really be close with them right now, because I'm still deciding and being around them reminds me of him. Lol. My stepsister was definitely just as close with my dad as I was. We didn't fight much, if at all, but one of the big things that we argued over was my dad, because I was a kid who thought that she was trying to steal him. Updates. Am I the a-hole for not wanting a relationship with my stepmom and stepsister after my dad died? I decided not to cut my stepfamily out of my life. My second question was, if I was the a-hole, if I go or not, and people say that it was up to me. So I went to my stepmom's place for Christmas. This was my first time with my stepmom and stepsister without my dad. It was super hard because I sat in the seat that he always sat on, and I just broke down crying. I am forever grateful for both my stepsister and stepmom, because we all just had a group hug on her couch while I bawled my eyes out. It ended, and we didn't open presents but just talked. We had brunch, and it went well, though I was holding in tears for the whole thing. This was the first time I could see they actually do care for me, and I care for them. They are my family, and I didn't stay the night because I definitely couldn't do that, but I left around 11 at night. This was the first time I ever felt like a full family unit, and not the bad kid who fought with my stepmom and just wasn't the nicest to my stepsister. I thank them so much for not holding a grudge when I went through my teen rebel phase. I hugged them both goodbye and I went home. I feel like me giving them a shot and going to my dad's place helped me realize that these are the people who have always been there for me. They were the ones who didn't give up on me when I was a troubled teen, and I loved them both for it. I text my stepsister almost daily now, even if it's just a good morning, or that I have the day off, and I call my stepmom a bit too now, but it goes a bit deeper, and I have started to really trust her like a mum. Thank you for all the advice, and to not cut them out, because it really did help me realize that we are family. We have been since I was 8, and I love and care for both of them very much. Also, apologies if you hear any loud noises in the background. Someone's literally using a flamethrower on a roof outside right now. I don't have an explanation for it. Anyway, Peter Mule says, "You sir/madam just grew up." Feels good, doesn't it? I got closer to my stepmother when I warmed her at a burial in the UP of Michigan while my father was mourning the loss of his parent. Put the past behind you. You want a good grandmother in your kids' lives when you have kids. I agree. I was a bad kid/brother growing up, and I regret that. I'm so glad neither of them held that against me and just saw it as a bratty teen. Once I have kids, I think having a good aunt and grandma will be awesome for them. Posted by user DurfBoy1262, titled, Am I the A-hole? Parents bought younger sister with serious issues a $25,000 car for Christmas, while all I got was a damn phone case. I've been needing a car for a couple of years, and my parents promised one, but gave her one instead. In my family, there are 2 kids, my sister and I, and my parents. Christmas was coming up, and I've been wanting a car for about a year now because I've recently gotten my green Ps. Australian thing that you can get when you're older than 18. My parents have mentioned in the past the idea of me paying for half, and they'll cover the other half of a car under 10,000 Australian dollar dues. I can afford this as I've saved most of my money from the 2 jobs that I've kept since I was 14, so no biggie. I've also been relying on Mum to drive me to work for the past 4 years, so it was a smart move on their end rather than driving the 30 minutes each way every shift I got. My sister has just turned 17, which is when you can get your red Ps in Australia. She's never had a job and has no money saved whatsoever. I love her a lot, but she's made some questionable decisions towards her future lately. But that's a separate story. My parents haven't seemed to care as much as they probably should have about these things, and are acting like everything's normal and all good. With Christmas coming up at the time, and my birthday in early January, I thought this might be the time my parents get me that car that I've wanted for the last year, as they have mentioned this idea for the last couple of months. I'm obviously excited the week leading up to Christmas, wondering what type of car they've bought or what they're looking at. I wake up Christmas Day around 10 a.m. to the sound of my younger sister crying, but in a happy way. I'm excited for her, as she's obviously gotten something she's wanted. I walk downstairs, and no one's at the Christmas tree, but a present is there with my name sitting there. I'll figure that I'll come back to it after I find my parents. I check the front door, and it's wide open. I walk out to the driveway and see a brand new blue Hyundai i30 sitting on the driveway with a big ribbon on the front, which is around $25,000 dues. God, they don't stop advertising the bloody Hyundai in ads. Get the new premium range Hyundai. Shut up, you're not as good as Toyota, alright? My sister is at the side of it, crying with my parents' arms around her. I asked who it's for, and my parents tell me her. I probably could have handled this better, but I stormed back into the house, closed my door, and stayed in there for the rest of the day. Didn't go with my family to see everyone else for Christmas because of how annoyed I was. My parents asked me why I did that when they got home, so I asked them why they bought her a car before me, who's older, willing to pay half, had a job, goes to school, and has a stable plan for the future. They don't have an answer to that one, so they just stay quiet, and after a couple of minutes of awkward silence, they walk out. By this point, I'd forgotten about the present they left under the tree downstairs. So I walk down to open it, and it's a new iPhone case from eBay, something I had no use for. I can't get over what they've done. Am I the a-hole? Yes, screw your parents, what's wrong with them? She doesn't deserve a brand new Hyundai i30, now with the new sports package and a top of the range, blah blah blah. They were going to give you a used one for half of 10 grand, yet they give her a new one? Screw this stupid favoritism. What has she done to earn it? I'm angry on your behalf, OP. Christmas is ruined. Screw these parents. Let's burn the house down. You know, we'll get money out of the insurance benefits from this one for sure. Just say the homeless man down the road did it, right? We'll go half on this one, right? I'll buy you a nice Tesla, OP. Let's go. Come on. Not the a-hole. Dear Midnight says, some people are going to comment based on the fact that a new car isn't a gift a teenager should expect, but that's not the issue here. The issue is that your parents showed considerable favoritism towards your sister, and you don't know why, and they won't tell you why. That's naturally very upsetting. Your reaction is totally understandable. So understandable that the fact they asked you why you were upset seems a bit strange. Not the a-hole. That's right, I couldn't really fathom what they'd done when I woke up, but when I thought about it more after storming off, I was in total shock at the clear favoritism and financial investment they put into this dropkick of a sister. She'll last a couple of months with it before it's a write-off, but they'll probably buy her another one because that's what they're like. I hope it changes soon, but man, it really sucks to feel so much less of a human than your sibling. Not the a-hole. My parents tried to be fair and equal, but my mum has favored my oldest brother to the point that it's obvious to the rest of the kids. He's not a horrible person, but is narcissistic and a walking dumpster fire. Years ago, I told her I wasn't going to bail him out financially when she was gone. Mum no longer has the funds to help him, he still asks, and I worry whether she will have enough to care for herself till the end of her life. If he had repaid all the money she's loaned him, she would be fine. My brother is getting ready to burn his life down to the ground again, and none of the rest of us are willing to help him out. Your parents are setting your sister up for a life of dependence, and not realizing there will be no one to help her when they are gone. They are breeding resentment in you toward her. You need to inform them that you will not be your sister's keeper. I'm currently facing this. My sister is 10 years older than me, has 9 kids, lives at home with mum, and has burned every rental place she's ever lived in. All of her bad choices my mother drags her out of, and at 36 she's still no better. She owns nothing, lost custody of all her kids, and depends on my mother for everything. My brother and I saw the way that she has always favored her, and how we were put on the back burners, and now we're the financially stable ones, with homes and marriages. I told my mother I'm no longer helping my sister or her dig her out of her mistakes. I'm out of thousands of dollars, and it's all for nothing. Tell your parents how they feel, set boundaries, and stick to them. You can't stay on a sinking ship with them when you can't get in a lifeboat. Update for post on situation where sister got $25,000 car for Christmas while I got a phone case. Update. So my birthday was the 11th of January. My parents were seeming nicer than usual the entire week beforehand, which might have been because they had time off work or they had a surprise. The outcome was somewhere in the middle of what I was expecting though. So on my birthday, they told me that they were sorry for buying my sister a car for Christmas when I deserved one and really needed it more than her. So they told me that they had given me $10,000 to be able to afford something that I'd really like and enjoy taking care of, and also drive to and from work, to school and uni, and everything else. The outcome couldn't really have been much better than this one, especially since they originally said they'd help me with $5,000 toward the car that I want. So I'm pretty happy with it. Not gonna complain anymore about the situation. I just hope they stop the favoritism and obvious extra love and support they give to my sister all the time. Thanks for all the support on the original post. I think we're at around 7.7 thousand upvotes as of now, which is pretty good. And thanks for all the messages with advice on the situation. Apple of my eye says, I'm so sorry that happened to you. What was their explanation for why they do something so boneheaded? They still haven't really touched on that part yet, so I'm not entirely sure. It's annoying, but I'm happy with the $10,000, and I'm gonna try and forget about it as much as I can. One possibility is that they show favoritism towards your sister because she seems to need more. You're the strong, independent, successful kid, while your sister has issues and is a bit of a mess. Obviously, that's still not fair or okay, but it may not be an issue of we love her more, so much as we think she needs extra help and motivation while you are good to go. Either way, I'm glad this turned out okay, and I hope that you get a car that you love. Thanks for the update. It's so true. My mum always said they gave attention to whoever needed it the most at any given time, but the other siblings translated that to a measurement of love. This was me and my younger sister. She always needed a little bit more help than me, and my parents always just knew I was the more independent one. One time, when I was 18 in college, and they were still financially supporting me, I told them I really needed rain boots to go back and forth to class because the weather there sucked, and my shoes were getting soaked. They told me it was out of their budget and maybe later. The rain boots were definitely a bit nicer, around $50, but my parents have always done very well, and I definitely live much more frugally now, but a good pair I figure would last a while. 2 days later, my live-at-home sister recklessly hits a pole with her truck and despite little damage, needed a new license plate that got ruined. So my mum took her to get a new license plate and then bought her crystal-encrusted license plate frames that cost over $100. Now, I have never ever flipped at my parents over monetary things and was always raised to be respectful, but when my sister told me, I remember being like, "You have got to be frickin' kidding me." I had never seen my mum go so silent on the phone so quickly before realizing how it was perceived. She then sent me rain boots the next day, but my sister always got a helping hand before me. You need shoes? And get a no. And she gets a crystal-encrusted license plate. Is this real? How enraging! Also, apologies for the sudden change in energy in the storytelling. This is the second day I've been recording this post because I do that over 2 days sometimes when I get lazy, and the coffee is just hitting something different today. So I hope you enjoyed the energy on this one. Obviously, it doesn't happen all the time, but yeah, it was good fun. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye. Alright guys, that's where I'm going to end today's video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something that you didn't know before. If you haven't already, please do feel free to click that like button, as it really does help me in the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't already and you love today's video, please feel free to subscribe. I would love it a lot. Also, big shout out to all my Patreon members and channel subscribers. You guys are all up on the screen right now. I love you. I love your faces. Also, I love seeing you guys all chatting down below in the comments. It brightens my day to see the stories that you guys share and just the kind words you guys always have for my videos, as well as everyone else in the videos. I love you too. But honestly, your ongoing support means the world to me, and I just love it so much that you guys are able to support a career for myself that I invest so much time into. And you guys honestly motivate me to work harder each and every day to put more love into the videos for you guys. If you guys have watched this far in the video and you haven't already subscribed on Patreon or become a channel member, that's cool, you don't have to, but there are links down below. You can donate any amount of money, pledge that any month, cancel whenever. I'm completely cool with it. It's just there for you to support me if you'd like to go the extra mile. And I'll go the extra mile for you guys by putting out new amazing content every single day. With that said guys, I really hope you have a good day, night, sleep, bath, time at work, whatever you're up to today. This has been Markee. I'll see you in the next amazing video. Bye.